Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to Talking Ideas in the Home.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so nice of you to join us. I'm going to start with introducing myself. My
Yes.
name is Aarti, and I'm a content writer and a customer experience enthusiast and the founder of a company called The Idea Studio. And for today's Heal and Home session, we have with us Nikki. Nikki is a restaurateur, a food and beverage strategist, a barefoot runner, adventure travel enthusiast, and you also did a food pop-up. My gosh, how did you do it all? So I want you to take a minute and introduce yourself to our followers, and then we'll jump right into it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm basically very enthusiastic about food, culture, running and outdoors. And I sort of try to make time for each and everything whenever I can and do it all together. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here. Actually, I mean, in the last couple of days, in fact, I've got more time to sort of peep into each of these aspects and see how they can get better. So it's been nice. This lockdown has sort of helped in forming up how everything is sort of working also.
A lot of introspection time for all of us.
Yeah, so much.
So, Nikki, I
Tell
know
me.
your first love is running. So
Yes.
tell us about this. I'm dying to know, and I'm sure everybody else is. What is barefoot running?
I mean, in South Africa and all these African countries where you see a lot of these runners that compete in these races, you'll always find them barefoot. And I've read tons of books on barefoot running as well. They didn't have these kind of shoes that we get these days and the kind of support we get, etc. earlier, and was a lot different. But my case wasn't any of that. I had the best shoe. I had a good team to sort of run with, and I had a good area sort of also to practice and take this on. But I'm sort of flat-footed, and it was getting really difficult for me to run some days because I would keep getting shin pain, knee pain, ankle pain, etc. So what I did is I sort of made an effort to remove my shoes one day and just run and see how I felt, and I felt great. And I think that was the first day when I ever removed it, and I don't think I wore them again after that.
And where
Um,
did you like on the road on the
I
street
ran
or
on
you
the
went?
road. No,
Wow.
so I run on the road. I don't run on the treadmill because when you're sort of practicing for your marathon, your treadmill runs don't equate to the kind of uh, practice you do on a road on a daily basis or alternate basis. But Bombay roads can get a little tricky, so I would wear my socks and run each time I would do that. You'll find a lot of people on the road sort of being really careful about you as well, and they'll be like, you should really wear your shoes and run, and I don't think you should be running this way. So you get caught a lot of that. But what I also discovered in the process is there's a brand called Vibrams, and they have shoes. They're not shoes actually; they're just soles that sort of protect the bottom of your feet. I'll show you one of them that I have.
Because I
So
was gonna
this is
ask
what they
you
look
that.
like.
Oh, nice.
They like your
So
feet.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but they have a very thin sole on the side, and they
right.
sort of just help you. I mean, just the bottom of your feet are protected. But
Yeah.
I don't always run in them. But if I'm running not in my area and I'm running somewhere else where I'm not familiar with how it is, then I make sure I run in them. But I've sort of stopped wearing shoes completely, and I've only been on these. They give me more holding, and they sort of take an arch of my feet completely.
Wow.
So
That's
that's
amazing.
been
I was gonna ask when you run marathons and stuff, you aren't worried about getting hurt. I guess this kind of protects you.
you get
What is the
blisters.
longest distance all you do?
So I've done a half marathon, which is about 21 kilometers, and I've done a bunch of that. But so barefoot, I've only reached 18 till now because I what happens
Wow.
is after a point, my feet start giving me blisters because the
Yeah.
soles are so and I mean I really love running and I would like to
Yeah.
take this up, but after some time you can't really go through that pain for a very long
Yeah.
time. And then you're sort of reducing the time to run again because the effort of that healing for you to run again comes back in the picture. So what I've done is I've
Yeah.
slowly over a period of time pushed it to 18, and I'm hoping I reach 21 someday.
18 is phenomenal. My God, I don't think I can run 18 kilometers with shoes and the help. I can't imagine what it's like to run it barefoot.
I know. So
So,
it was very similar for me because I didn't start running. I couldn't run at all either. But then eventually, I think you sort of get a hang of it, and it's practice, and it's getting up in the mornings and just going and trying and doing
Arjun Vaidya says 18 kilometers barefoot is crazy.
it. Hi, Arjun.
So, I mean, before, where all have you run? I wanted to ask you that question. Where have you run
Um,
in Bombay?
so
Have you run internationally?
so Bombay, no, in India predominantly, I've done runs when I've traveled, but never done any sort of marathons over there. I mean, I would love to partake, but I feel like their cutoff timings are something that I haven't been able to reach. And now that I've changed from normal running to barefoot running, I'm sort of still figuring out how to reach the cutoff timing that they require for me to qualify to come there.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah,
Well, we wish
yeah.
you luck and I hope that
So
you find
There's yeah. So because there's really nice marathon, like there's a London marathon, and then there's New York marathon. And there's something in Amsterdam, and if you talk to runners that do full marathons, you'll find out that they sort of really try hard and work a lot harder to sort of get that timing gap because a very few people are selected year on year. But
yeah.
considering this pandemic, I don't see anything happening for the next 1 year because there are a lot of runners at one time
Yeah.
that are on the street. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to be allowing any of that for a very long time.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Nikki, there are a few of our audience saying that they can't really hear me well. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Now I can hear you better.
Yeah, was it too soft? Tell me if I go a little soft, I'll like.
Now you've gone a little soft. I think when you were closer to the yes.
Okay. So maybe this is better.
Yes, this is better.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a little bit about barefoot running. But moving on to the very, very interesting consumer survey that you did. Tell us about it, why you did it, what were your motivations behind it, and then of course we'll discuss the findings as well.
Yeah.
But just for our audience to know, Nikki is a reluctant influencer. She doesn't allow me to use that word.
No.
She has a huge Instagram following.
Yeah.
And she did a survey to see how consumer behavior changes in the time of COVID. And she got some really interesting results. But tell us about why you did this survey and what were your motivations behind it?
So, when this entire time started 50 days ago, there was a strong space where I realized that my own decision on what I was buying had shifted so much. So I saw that when I went to a grocery store or when I was out there shopping, I wasn't really buying anything that I used to buy. Brands didn't matter suddenly to me. Only the product mattered. And that's when I realized that, when we were in school or when anyone's done their MBAs or their degrees, we've never been taught how things are going to change during a pandemic. We want, even though pandemics have happened before, these things have happened before, but there hasn't been any curriculum where this has sort of been a part of it, telling you what's happening. So I think one of my biggest things was to sort of learn what was happening right now through the people and see what they were experiencing and share it back as knowledge to them. Because at this point, collaborating, learning, and giving out the knowledge on the go is sort of what's helping most of us overcome the difficulties we're facing because there's no book that's going to tell us how it's going on. So the consumer survey was one such thing because I personally was sort of experiencing it. I personally was seeing a change in my own behavior, and what I also noticed is that if I was experiencing as a consumer, a lot more people were, and that sort of made me dive deeper into the behavior aspect and see how it would change and how would brands react differently if so much changed for them. And yeah, so that was one of my very major reasons to sort of dive into that topic because before putting it out, I did look into a bunch of articles online and try to see if there was some information that I could learn from and not ask you for it or not gain it from you as a consumer. But But I mean, the internet wasn't able to provide any of that at this point. It was all assumptional based, and I think the survey
Yeah.
helped me get more clarity on how each one of us were feeling differently.
Yeah, I think this sort of pandemic is unprecedented, and I think that not many, of course, there haven't been enough companies that have done research in this sort of situation. And I think it's really interesting that you wanted to see how consumer behaviors have changed when,
Yeah.
the basic things that we do. And I wanted to dive into a few of your questions that you asked. What were your favorite ones? What was the most interesting ones for you?
Meat consumption was very interesting to me. I didn't
I
think
know.
I didn't think people would react differently towards eating meat at this point. That was one very important part. I didn't think deliveries was something. I mean, delivery is something we are opting for because that's what's happening. But I didn't think you would be relying on them. I didn't think you would move to that. I just thought it would be very temporary. But many people were okay with the idea of things coming over and them not going to sort of, pick it up. But one thing was
Yeah,
very interesting that consumers still wanted to go and buy their stuff in the retail segment, and they were
yeah.
okay with digital receivables as well.
Delivery. Yeah.
So
So
going out, sorry,
the meat thing, sorry, the meat thing, you say it's
yeah,
interesting. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what the question was? Because I found that really interesting too. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the question was, would you eat less meat now because of COVID? And even though there is no research to support at all that meat can transfer COVID, or, the coronavirus can be transferred through meat, you
correct.
saw that most of your audience responded. I think it was an overwhelming percentage that said, I'm now going to be vegetarian for a while.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So what happened is that when I went out to, so I stopped eating meat a while back. But when I went to Nature's Basket or Food Hall or online, I started realizing that there was less meat also available. So even they weren't really procuring it. When I asked them, they said there are less buyers and meat was getting stale. So I went out asking the consumer, is it that they weren't able to find it, they can't cook it, or they don't want to eat it anymore? So there's a very big percentage of people that said that they were okay to not eat it for a while. They were okay to wait till things got normal for them to sort of eat it as well. So that was very, very
Mm-hmm.
interesting because I've not
Nice.
seen meat consumption sort of going down. In fact, over the years, the only thing I've seen is that more non-vegetarians have converted to non-vegetarians versus the other way around. I have a few friends who've turned vegan, but
Yeah.
that's a very small number of people that have actually gone vegan.
Really, I feel like vegan and vegetarianism is the new cool, but
Yeah,
maybe,
it is.
that's
It is.
abroad, I think, maybe not in India.
Yeah,
So, the one of the questions that I found really interesting was your brand loyalty question, right? So
correct.
there's all this hoo-ha about branding, and how branding is so important and everything else. And of course, there are international companies and Indian companies that spend millions and millions on branding, and they're huge brand success stories and everything else, of course.
Yeah.
But in the time of a crisis, as you saw from your survey, in the time of a crisis, when the consumer was asked that if you're going to go out and shop a product, is it okay not to be able to find the brand that you want, and you're just going to buy the product anyway? And again, an overwhelming number, about 80% of your audience responded saying, we don't care about the brand, we just need the product. What's your thought on that?
I mean, first the amount of time that I spend working on a brand to create it for a consumer to buy for it being a brand versus it being a product, I think I was a little disappointed. Because there was a very large number of people that were going just for the product and not for the brand. And most of us, we do work on creating a good product, but what we sell or what we sort of put forward is always the brand. What we sort of want you to believe in is always the brand. As marketers, as brand heads, as business strategists, that's always been such a clear cut space. What sort of is different is that that's going to change. That means we have to also adapt to that, and
Absolutely. Can you
we'll
tell
have.
our followers a little bit about the brand that you've created in the F&B space? Just give a little bit of
So
the
so
story.
I've so basically what I've worked with is Mia Cucina. It's a restaurant which I worked for the last 4 years I mean, last year was the year when we sold out and we sort of left the brand. But that was something that I created through and through for 4 whole years. I worked with Swami. They make tonic waters and ginger ale. You must have come across their products. I worked with them till about Feb this year. That's been a bigger part on why FMCG and retail has been so important and catching for me as well. So these two have been aspects that I sort of played around with quite a bit. So even at
Yeah.
Swami, right? Like what we did is we worked on brand. We worked on brand. Though the product's great, I know that, you know that. But the first thing that I want you to pick up is for the brand it is. And that's
Yeah.
what makes you pick up the product. But if that changes, a lot of things change as well.
I can imagine, and your survey is telling you that consumers don't care about brands during a crisis situation.
Yes, they
So
don't. I didn't
that's
care
interesting.
either. Like when I went to pick up a soap or when I went to pick up soap of, I went and get scrub for my face. I picked up whatever was available on the shelf, not
Hmm.
Kama or not a Lakme or not. It didn't matter. Whatever was available, madam, ये चाहिए तो ले लो, नहीं चाहिए तो no problem. Like it's that way.
So, what do you think about people now, because we're facing this crisis and everyone is focusing on health, and that's why we have this session, Heal at Home. When
Correct.
people are going grocery shopping, do you think that they're looking for healthy things to pick up? What about basics like essentials like hand sanitizers? Do you feel that that was available freely? What do you think about immunity boosters and things like that?
So my mom personally has been very strong about the whole immunity boosting part of it. So there's vitamin C tablets going on around in the house. So there are some Ayurvedic. We've got these small boxes that she's got from one of her friends that we've been having. Hand sanitizers weren't available in the beginning when I sort of went to the stores, but then they started getting available. But if you actually saw the things that were getting stocked were essentials and healthy things. Uh,
So, do you think being
yeah,
healthy is a luxury at this time?
it
I
is.
mean, when
It
people
is.
are focusing on essentials, yeah.
It is. It is.
So,
Also, it's some healthy things. I mean, if you are going for a couple of other healthy products, they can also get expensive, and you're also trying to sort of balance out how you sort of do it. But more or less, I think these two have been very important on consumption, like fruits, vegetables, and all have been where most of the money got spent, even on the survey. That's grocery was a biggest part where everyone was sort of spending money and health.
yeah,
These were the only two
yeah,
places people were spending money on.
yeah. By the way, I have to point out here that Dr. Vaidyas has Herbo Cleanse, which is an all natural hand sanitizer.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so yeah, and it's available at Nature's Basket. So
Oh,
and people go in there, they can take a look at it. But
yes.
one of the other questions you had, two questions actually, I wanted to deep dive on a little bit more, is the rise of delivery kitchens. You're heavily into food. You've done your own pop-up, travel inspired. We'll get to that in a bit. But you saw that a lot of people are not looking to rush back into restaurants, which, you being a
No,
restaurateur, again, that's something that must have been really upsetting for you to hear.
it is. It is because
Um,
you're sort of waiting for people to come back. That's what makes your business, and
yeah.
that's the hospitality you want to sort of give out.
Yeah.
So,
And so, do you think that delivery kitchens now, with the contactless, cashless delivery, is what is on the rise? How do you think that the restaurant business is going to evolve given the COVID crisis?
I honestly don't know how it's going to sort of evolve because it's been changing rapidly. We didn't think so. I personally didn't think so many restaurants would sort of completely opt for delivery and go into delivery only, but they have been doing that. They have been available with only doing deliveries out there, and that's from the best restaurant in the city to a delivery kitchen. Everyone's currently opened their doors to deliver food to you. um, it may change. There may be a lot of social distancing norms that sort of come in where more than four people may not be allowed in one part of the restaurant. There may be lesser tables, and there may be hours that when you can go out and come back in. And this is something I've been sort of reading that Asian countries have been following. I don't see how and what India will be doing, but this is something that may be on our cards soon. But that also sort of makes it different because that's not what dining out was. That's not what going to a bar was. The more the people, the merrier. The more the
Yeah.
parties, the more the birthdays is what, the celebrations and the good times is what we sort of all went out for. So I think that's going to change a little. You may be doing a lot more of that at home with more people because you trust
Yeah,
your closer space than that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping
And
it
then
works out
another,
for them.
yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it remains to be seen in what direction it's going to go. Another question you had on your survey, and this of course pertains to Dr. Vaidyas as a brand as well, is we've seen a huge shift to digital. All our products are now online, as you know, and even in
Yeah,
this really difficult time, we're partnering with hyperlocal delivery partners like Zomato, Swiggy, Scootsie to deliver our Ayurvedic products to patients in need. And we've seen the demand is surged tremendously also because Dr. Vaidyas is a wellness product and
correct.
Ayurveda right now, because there's no cure for COVID, Ayurveda is something that people are relying on to improve health and immunity and things like that. Um, so you also saw a shift to digital, and a lot of people were buying online. Um, do you think that that's like a COVID trend? Do you think that there are going to be converts into the digital sector, and a lot of people are now going to shift to shopping digital online because it's a lot easier and a lot more convenient? What are your thoughts on online and digital?
I personally feel there's going to be a big shift online. I see it in my own house. My mom never ordered from a digital medium. It was my grandmom made sure that she called up the store and everything sort of got delivered, even though that's available right now as an option. But going on Big Basket,
Yeah,
going on any of the online portals, like right now, Scooty, Swiggy have these stores that they've been doing area wise. Everyone's been using it and going completely digital and being okay to put their card number. So my parents had that inhibition that, hey, I don't know if I want to give out all my details
yeah,
outside. Yeah, but that's sort of
security.
out. That's not a part that trust factor has instantly got embedded on the digital medium, saying that that's how we're going to do it. But I still feel like a lot of people are going to go to retail stores as well if they're, because I still feel touching the product and feeling and seeing it with their own eyes is very different. But it may just be lesser, not
And of
not
course,
out of the question.
to get most of India onto the digital payment platform is a great challenge because everybody prefers to spend in cash rather than on cards
Yeah.
and Paytm and all the other. So I think that's a challenge that's going to come in the near future.
But
The
because
last question on your service. Sorry, go ahead.
because we went to the grocery store next to the house, and he has, because of COVID, the only thing he's accepting as a payment is Google Pay, and it's not somebody who would ever have agreed to any of that. So digital is, I think, everyone from top down to bottom up, everyone's sort of moving to the whole digital space.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Another question on your survey was, we've been thinking a lot about consumers and how they're going back to their old traditional Indian values. Savings, spending on essentials, Ayurveda for one of them. Dr. Vaidyas is now India's number one Ayurveda brand digitally.
Oh,
And a
interesting.
lot of people are consuming, a lot of younger consumers are consuming Ayurveda. And I wanted to know, do you think that the crisis has put a reset in mindset to go back to Indian values, or do you think we're going to see something like that happened in China, where there was this revenge buying when the lockdown opened up and people were shopping everything from luxury bags to watches? Where do you think that the Indian consumer mindset is going to be?
I still feel like we've been very embedded with saving money since we were growing, then being thrifters out and going and spending everything, keeping in mind the current situation and also seeing that beyond us there's been an entire set of lower income people who don't have that kind of money. There's been a very big sense of realization that we've been privileged enough to have that extra income to
Yeah.
sort of save it and sort of help them, or at least save it for yourself and for the future. So I don't particularly see a lot of people going out and shopping until there are sales that come in and woo the buyer to sort of come. But otherwise, I don't particularly see a big expense coming anyone's way because everyone's sort of going to be a little careful with it. And about Ayurveda, I mean, personally, I follow it, not to the T, but the things that I can, I've learned a couple of aspects on what my body type is, how I can eat, keeping certain timings in the day in mind, and what should I not eat, what should I eat, and that sort of really helped me over the years. It's been about a year and a half, I think, that I've been following it, and I've actually really stopped eating a lot of things that don't suit my body. But I've learned that with time and through the medium of Ayurveda, and that's been very, very helpful.
So, speaking of which, you and I share a common love, travel and food.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that you're also a super, super, super healthy person. And even with your travels, you're into adventure sports and everything else. In this lockdown, what is your health mantra? How are you healing at home? How are you staying healthy? Do you miss your travels? What's your thought on that?
I definitely do miss my travels, and I wish I could go hike a mountain, honestly, or explore a new city with some good food. But I know that's going to be a little far fetched dream of mine at this point, so I'm going to keep that and park that aside. But apart when you say health mantra, I think something that I've really been concentrating on is mental health. Um, because I've realized that physical health is something that I've been good at, and I know sort of how to do it. It's ABC, you learn the trick and you do it. But mental health is so complicated on the other side.
Yeah.
So I think mental fitness, if I had to make it sound more interesting, is something that I'm sort of trying or working towards making to make it a little better. So meditating, journaling, some quiet time.
That's
Um,
lovely. That's lovely
yeah,
to bring that up because I think that mental health is just as important, especially in a time that is so mentally taxing for everybody. We're
yeah,
thrown into situations that we have no idea how to approach, whether they're at home or, even outside. Our relationship with work, consumption, children, in laws, parents, everything has changed. So I think that it's really
right,
important to be able to find that balance. And Ayurveda is all about finding the balance, the Ayurvedic
yeah.
lifestyle and things like that. So tell us about your two aprons. What was that? The pop up that you had.
So Two Aprons was an experiential food space that we were doing with our travel. So I had a partner with me as well, and we used to travel, come back, and do a bunch of pop-up dinners, which used to happen only once a month in a different location each time. The meal type would change, the people would change, and the whole idea was to come and experience something totally different each time you came for a pop-up and meet new people.
And it was inspired by your travels. The food was
Yes,
inspired by your travels.
always,
So
yeah.
do you think that the Indian palate is changing and people are more open to trying global cuisines and yeah, you think so? Like
Initially not because we still like our spice and we still like that chatpata.
yeah,
We don't like the idea particularly of small plates. That means you cannot serve somebody just one dim sum and tell them that hey,
yeah,
this is gourmet food. I don't think. I mean,
yeah,
how much ever you like it when you go internationally, I think in Bombay
right.
you still want to eat पेट भर के, you want that rice in the end and feel full. You don't want to go back home empty stomach because you've paid a lot to go back home empty stomach.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
but they've adapted so well. They've adapted so well. The number of people that I would see each time, and they were different people, set of people who came out each time just to experience something new, was so good. And also, I feel like Bombay as a city has lesser things to do, so we're more open-minded when it comes to different experiences as well when it's around food. So it
I
was actually really nice.
That's nice. Well, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask you only two questions towards the end. Firstly, now that we're all locked down at home, how are you managing to stay healthy? How do you get in
Um,
your workouts?
So I generally sleep early. I'm an early riser. So I try to get in my workouts in the morning. I've been doing yoga. I just started it actually, like I restarted it, and I've been running in my building, which is not very very comfortable, but I miss it, so I do it. And yeah,
Yeah.
I spend about an hour and a half in the morning doing this. So it's been nice.
Barefoot running in your
Yes,
building?
yes, yes. And it's
Oh,
safer
okay,
now because there are no pebbles and cobbles. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's amazing. Over time, does it harden the sole of your feet?
it does. It does. At this point, I have blisters and they're sort of it. I mean, this is not something I would want to be sharing on a live session, but yeah, it does harden the sole of my feet. It does harden it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know how I was telling you when I started running earlier, there was a shorter duration that I could run for, and the blisters would come. Now it's much longer. So, you can go by 15, 18 kilometers without being uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And you're focusing on your physical health, you're also focusing on your mental health, and I'm sure that yoga really, really helps you with getting the balance and the calmness that you need.
And like a lot of sleep. Because
And a
there
lot
is
of
enough time to sleep. There's no sort of activity where we are traveling anymore. So,
yeah.
you can get that 8 hours or 7 hours of sleep, which sort of helps you re-energize for the next day so much better.
Yeah, I can imagine. And of
Yeah.
course, what are you doing for immunity?
A bunch of things actually. I have been taking my multivitamins, turmeric milk, alternate days, vitamin C, but I'm eating clean. I wouldn't lie, I do eat my breads and pizzas and pastas, but I try to sort of balance it. If it's happening once a day, the other part of the day can sort of be a bit much
Balance it
better.
in between.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing to me that how when we're challenged with the pandemic, we go back to our sattvic Indian roots of
I
eating
know.
clean and following Ayurveda, and
Yeah.
of course Dr. Vaidyas has a host of immunity pills, whether it's HerboFit or ImmunoHerb, and these are all age-old formulations that have been around for thousands and thousands of years that are now gaining traction and popularity because
Yeah.
when medical science can't find a cure, you have to rely sort of on your body to do the work that it's supposed to do. And I guess healthy eating, yoga, working out, using Ayurvedic products is all a way of sort of bringing the balance back together.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I wanna ask you this. So, if people wanna actually read more about Ayurveda, since we're talking about that, we're talking about health, we're talking about Dr. Vedas, what would be the right way for them to read about it a lot more and sort of deep dive into it?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's www.drvaidyas.com. And it has a fantastic Ayurveda blog. It has daily tips on Ayurveda. We're doing a heal at home session at 6 p.m. every day where we're talking to people like you about health and their belief in Ayurveda and their trust in Ayurveda and why they use Ayurveda. We also have all our products have descriptions and what sort of ailments they can help with and things like that. So it's all on our website. It's a great resource and it's a good place to shop and get all the things you need during this time.
It's amazing. I think it's going to help me. I don't know about anyone else, but I think you're going to find me on the website a lot more often.
Yeah. We also do daily Ayurveda tips on WhatsApp and Instagram.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I mean, I'm following you guys now. I've known Arjun for a long time since I was at the restaurant. So it's great. It's great. I actually didn't know this part of it on the tips because there's so much on Ayurveda online. You don't know what's the right sort of medium to gain knowledge of it.
I think
but this is great because it's trusted.
Yeah, no, and I think what's really special about Dr. Vaidyas, at least from my point of view, is that it's about bringing Ayurveda into the 21st century. And I think that's always been sort of Arjun's mindset about it, making old school Ayurveda products like amazing for users like you and me. So one of the most brilliant ideas he came up with last year was Chyawanprash in the form of a toffee for kids. And it was called Chakach. Yeah. And I remember as a kid being forced to eat Chyawanprash. It tasted horrible. But the nutritional value of it can't be denied. So they managed to come up with a toffee with half the sugar content, and kids love it. I mean, my kids eat it like a chocolate, and they're so excited by it.
Amazing.
So I think Dr. Vaidyas, it's all about bringing Ayurveda into the 21st century. And given the pandemic that we're facing, I think that it's necessary because some of these old ways of doing things, is what's going to bring us into hopefully healing soon enough.
That's true. That's so true. And I'm hoping to gain more knowledge from this website now.
Yeah. So Nikki, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for all the insights that you've shared.
Thank you.
And I hope I'll see you soon on the other side of this crisis. And continue posting about barefoot running because you're literally the only barefoot runner that I know.
I will. I hope I can motivate you to start running someday at least.
I know, I should
Yes,
definitely.
whenever you are, I'm
Take
around and
care,
I'm going to
Nidhi.
write to you. Bye. Thank you so much for having
Bye.
me. Bye.
Thank you, and thank you
Bye.
to
Thank you,
all our
everybody.
followers.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you to all our
Thanks.
followers for joining this session of Heal at Home with Dr. Vaidyas. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay home, and stay immunity happy. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Nikki.
Bye.
Hi guys, my name is Arjun Vedya and I'm the CEO of Dr. Vedyas. I hope you like what you heard. If you want more content on health and Ayurveda in the 21st century, please click the subscribe icon. We've got a lot more coming for you.